Okay, so we're playing Europa again. So I ordered from the BGG Marketplace a copy of this guy. This is First to Fight, sometimes called Poland First to Fight because that's what the box says. This is part of the so-called Collector Europa series that was begun by GRD, continued by Historical Military Services, the current publisher who has notoriously fallen down on Total War. But in this case, I got this for a pretty nice price, and it's in better shape than I expected it to be honest. Box has a bit of a crunch. Looks like somebody may have sat on it at one point, but it's really, the box is in as good a shape as any of my other Europa boxes, except for Baltic Front, which came in shrink wrap. So inside, we get the two classic wooden Europa dice. I now have quite a few of these, actually, but I actually still have the dice from my old Europa games back in the day. I now have a fair number of these Europa dice. Now, the interesting thing here is that the game was released in 1991, and they released a second edition later, and then an update kit, and I do not know which one this is. And the person I bought it from probably doesn't know either, because this was a bit deep in the weeds on the Europa stuff here. So there are two maps. There are some atrocious photocopies of First to Fight counter sheets. I mean, atrocious. Looks like somebody considered playing this at one point. We have this super weird ACS Europa marker sheet, which is nice and clean, I gotta say. Thick brown core stock, not super duper thick, but on the thick side. We got a pile of charts and displays. This at one point was considered kind of the ideal stepping on point for the Europa system. So what we see on the maps here, we're going to take a look. It looks like, and I believe these, well, the whole thing can be put together. Let's take a look at the map. So here we have essentially almost all of Poland, actually. Here we're going to have Slovakia down here, Germany over here. There's East Prussia. So it looks like you can play almost all except for a little bit of Poland that runs off the bottom of the map here on this one map, which is nice. And I don't think that little dangle will have any action on it. So what's the other map then in that case? I think this is interesting. Okay, this is the map that is over. There's a huge amount of overlap here. This connects this to the what looks like the second front maps, actually. So there's another map to the west here, is where the second map is. And these are in the sort of the classic Europa style of maps, which means they're a bit outdated looking now. But they're in sort of the revised Europa style that GRD started. So they're not quite as bland as some of the original GDW Europa maps, which were, after all, done in the 70s. So what do we have for paper here? We have counter sheets. We have CS 57A, 18B, 19B, 57A. So I think that means we have a second printing or with the update kit. This revision guide is hold on, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Here's a revised order of battle, punched, 3-hole punched and stapled together. We have something that's taped on, First to Fight Refit errata. So there's this is the refit, that's the update kit. And there's errata on that. Let's keep the errata. Looks like it's all counter errata too. And as is typical, and then this revision guide is like a 2 or 3, 4 page thing with Q&A too. Cool. And there's multiple scenarios in here as well. So, all right. So there's the Europa Bootcamp book, which is like how to play Europa for people who don't play Europa. That's kind of cool. Here's First to Fight Europa 7. The ones that GRD never did were well, they did Winter War. They didn't do the Naval War, Grand Europa, or Peace in Our Time. I'm not sure what Peace in Our Time was supposed to be. I think that was going to be like early war stuff if you want to play like Czechoslovakia fights and that kind of thing. And then there's this Order of Battle booklet, which is replaced by this updated Order of Battle thing in the update kit. And you can see the 1997. That's the date of the update kit. So I think we have what I wanted, which is First to Fight with the refit counters and this super bizarre. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. This is super bizarre. I'm inclined to not punch this just to keep it as a memento. So if you don't know, I think I've already said this, but First to Fight is the invasion of Poland, but it also includes the entire 1939 German army. So at least all of it that was on the East Front. So you got a lot more German units here than you have Polish units. And you do have some Soviet units as well, as you would expect. These are going to be Luftwaffe, more Poles, more Russians or Soviets, and these are going to be Slovakians who did participate, after all, in the invasion of Poland. The counter stock is a Finnish white core stock. Finnish, not Finnish. That's different from this thick brown core stock. Don't like different counter stocks in the same game, but you know, what are you going to do? It is a game that has been out of print since roughly the mid-90s. So, you know, you get them when you can, and in the shape that you can, and at the price that you can. And fortunately, this one did not set me back $1 million. I've been pretty lucky, or patient if you like. I mean, I would be happy to ascribe to myself the virtue of patience, even though that's usually a laughable proposition. But I've been mostly pretty patient with this Europa stuff and willing to wait until I see stuff at the right price. I saw Balkan Front at the right price, and now I have seen this at the right price as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed this perfunctory look at First to Fight 1991, the invasion of Poland, from Games Research and Design. Interestingly, Game Research and Design or Games Research and Design? Game Research and Design. Okay, so it is game singular, as the logo says. So another nice piece to add to the Europa library. I have no illusions about ending up with a complete set of this stuff, but I am happy to grab them should I see them at prices that I don't find laughable. Anyway, thanks again for watching. If you're got any value out of this, please do give the video a thumbs up. It helps to support the channel. Please do ask me any questions in the comments below. That also helps support the channel. If you would like to help support the channel in a more concrete way, there are links to the Patreon, the merch store, and the Ko-Fi in the video description. Please do subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy wargaming.